Welcome everyone to the Year 5 Information Evening Screencast, and we're really glad that you could join us from the comfort of your own homes. It's great for us to be able to sit here and talk to you and let you know a few things that are coming up in Year 5 this year. And if you don't know me, my name's Mr. Bachatsky, and I'm sure I'll hopefully get to meet you later on in the year. I'm here with Mr. Burns, who's the other Year 5 teacher, and we're just going to go through a few things with you now that you might need to know to help your students this year. So to begin with, you'd all be very familiar, I'm sure, with our school's BYOT policy, bring your own technology. At this stage, it is optional for students to have their own tech, but strongly encouraged. We are going to be using technology this year for all sorts of things, but as it says there, we want it to be an assistance to what we do and not a hindrance, and we're only going to use it for educational purposes here at school. Students, when they bring their tech, they have to look after it. They're responsible for taking care of it, and the school accepts very little responsibility in terms of care, but of course we will do what we can to make sure that everything's looked after. We have a responsible use of technology policy, which we'll be going through with the students and making sure that they understand what they can and can't do with their tech, and what is appropriate for them to do. And as it says there at the bottom, we're using it as a tool to enhance student learning. We would love the students to come every day with their tech, with it charged up and ready to go, so that we can make the best possible use of it. But having said that, we won't just be typing away, we'll also be making sure that each student gets enough practice handwriting, and that's obviously still an important skill, even in the 21st century. Speaking of 21st century skills, Mr. Burns is going to talk to you about the flipped classroom model.
Great. Hi, look, I'm Mr. Burns. Just want to reiterate what Mr. Bachatsky was saying. We like our tech. We love our tech in Year 5, but it's not a shiny toy. It is there to help us to learn. So those of you who are concerned we're going to be enamoured by our shiny toys, we are not. We are here to fulfil student outcomes and educational outcomes, and they are our end. They are there to help the learning. To that end, something Mr. Bachatsky and myself implemented last year was what we like to call the flipped classroom, which is a bit of a movement, an international movement. It's also sometimes referred to as the blended classroom, and that means often what we've got going on is we'll actually put our lecture component of the lesson online, so the student can watch that in their own time at home. They can rewind it as they see fit, and we like to use classroom time more in the way of a tutorial, if you will, so we can be alongside the student. You see, the truth of teaching is sometimes there is direct teaching, and that involves students listening to what we're saying, and they can do that via a video perfectly adequately. And once again, they can, of course, learn at their own pace there by pause, fast forward, rewinding that video, and it also allows for some flexibility in learning. Your little boy or little girl, or our fine student, can attend a sports event without missing a particular lesson or presentation. It's really all about differentiation. The reason we do this, it does allow us to quite literally have 20 different students watching 20 different lessons that are catered to the particular need. For example, Sally's great at subtraction but can't do multiplication. Well, she watches a multiplication video. Meanwhile, Leroy is terrible at subtraction, so he's watching that video. So we're really trying to refine our teaching to meet your children's needs as best as possible, and to that end, we'll be looking at using videos in the classroom. And moving on with that, the way we actually like the students to access the video is the Year 5 website, and we hope that you've had a look at that so far with your child. A Google search for Mr. Burns Teacher, all one word, Google Sites, so Google separate sites, will take you to the Year 5 website for 2013. Oh, first mistake, Mr. Bachatsky. That should say 2014. Sorry about that, guys. And we have changed that. Look, there's lots of content there. There's lots of lectures. They're already available. Feel free to peruse that with your child. Your children will be instructed to watch some of these videos as homework. Okay, and sometimes we watch them in class, and I did mention the flipped classroom before. That's because the idea of the video content comes from kids get the lessons at home via video and come into the class to do the actual work. That's the idea of flipping it round. And we do that a little, but we also blend it. We also have them watch the videos in the classroom because that's very effective as well. So it's the flip blended classroom. And if this is the first time this has happened with you, and I think it will be, can I suggest that it's going to happen a lot more in the future? I really think, and Mr. Bachowski thinks, this is the way that learning is going to go a little bit because it's just extremely differentiated and very useful. You can talk to some of the parents from last year. They, of course, were exposed to it in Year 5, 2013. We're also using Edmodo, which is a bit of a, well, the best way you can say it is it's Facebook for learning, isn't it? It's Facebook for learning. It's sort of
without the social media aspect,
without the social
the
media
nasty
aspect,
stuff.
Okay, so it's still fun. They can put up their own picture, but we can set online homework via this, and we can set interactive homework via this. It's very useful. It's fun. It's engaging. But once again, we use it for teaching, and that's really all we use it for.
That's right. And the other thing about Edmodo, which is important to understand, is that it's moderated by the teachers, so that things that go up on Edmodo can be removed quickly if they're inappropriate. But we've also set very strict guidelines as to how the students are going to use it this year, and we'll be on the site very often, also monitoring and sending our own posts.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, always for learning. Never just technology for technology's sake, is it? There's always a point to it.
That's right. And Edmodo can be a way that you can keep track of what's going on in the classroom too. If you sign up as a parent, we can show you how to do that later in the year as well.
All right. Now, we actually might end the video here, and we'll get you to click on the next link, the part 2, and we're going to talk about English and maths. We only do end the video because YouTube allows 10-minute blocks. So thanks for listening, guys. Switch it off, click it off, and go to the next link. Thank you very much.